Now just imagine you are walking in grass and suddenly what you see? A snake. Now what happens? You freeze due to fear. Your heart starts beating fast. Breathing rate increases. Face turns red and there are goose pimples. That's your first response. And then probably next you want to run away. Maybe you are not able to. You pick up a stone or maybe a stick to fight the snake. Now this fight flight response is very complex. And not only we do it, even the animals. Have you watched a squirrel? The moment she senses a danger or an emergency, again the responses are fight and flight. Now how are these responses constructed? What triggers these responses? Certainly nerves cannot. Like I explained to you, nerve impulse cannot be consistent. Now there is a chemical substance called hormone and the name is adrenaline. The adrenaline prepares us for these complex responses to emergency, like a snake or maybe getting bad marks when ma'am is distributing papers or something else. Now the adrenaline is produced by adrenal gland. What is renal? Renal means kidney. Now from where is this kidney coming? Because this gland is above kidney and it produces adrenaline. The adrenaline also raises the sugar level in blood and that is how it prepares us for the emergency. The diaphragm moves down, the rib cage moves up. That was the cause of breathing, so the breathing rate increases. Blood is rushed to heart so that more oxygen can be pumped. That was inhaled by increased breathing rate. Why so? So that more energy can be released. On the other hand, the blood supply to the digestive system and to the skin gets reduced. Why? Because the arteries and the muscles, they get constricted and the blood is diverted to the skeletal muscles. So many things are happening just so that we are prepared for the emergency. You must have also observed some people seem to be a little more sensitive. Somebody says a thing, the tears start rolling down. Not their fault. It's a case of more active adrenal glands. So that's the role of adrenal gland and the adrenaline. Another important thing, there is so much of ads also on it. Whenever anybody talks of salt, they don't talk just salt. They talk iodized salt. Why so? Why iodine is so important? Have you ever observed some people develop a swelling on the neck region? What is that disease? That disease is goiter. It's an endemic disease. That means it is restricted to a particular area, like say Garhwal. Why? Because water there is deficient in iodine. Children often develop goiter and the result, retarded mental and physical growth. So what is in iodine which is connected with growth? Actually, iodine is a very important part of a hormone called thyroxine. thyroxine is produced by the thyroid gland, which is present in the neck region. This thyroxine has iodine, and thyroxine is responsible for coordinating carbohydrate, fat and protein metabolism. So, it is very important. If thyroxine is produced in less amount, then this rate of metabolism becomes very slow. And what is the result? Obesity. And this situation is called hypothyroidism. Hypo means less and hyper more. So, if there will be more thyroxine, then it will be called hyperthyroidism. So, the rate of metabolism is dependent upon thyroxine. Now, I have given you two examples, but who stimulates these organs or these glands, like say thyroid, and another one we studied, adrenal? There has to be something else which triggers them to work. They of course trigger in turn some other aspects, but who triggers them? There is a master gland, and that is the pituitary gland. Why is it called the master gland? Because it produces hormones that stimulate other endocrine glands like TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone, ASH, adrenal stimulating hormone. The pituitary gland is found at the base of the brain. Not only this, pituitary gland also produces growth hormones. You must have heard some people grow very tall, more than 7 feet, the giants, and the disease is called gigantism. It is when pituitary gland is overactive. And in some cases, even a grown up man or woman may be just about 3 feet or less than that. What are they called? The dwarfs. And the condition is called dwarfism. This is also due to the either excessive production of growth hormones by the pituitary gland or deficient secretion of growth hormones by the pituitary gland. So, pituitary gland has two independent functions. One, stimulating other endocrine glands, so the name the master gland, and also to produce growth hormones. Now, if you remember your last summer vacations, especially the boys, what happened? Suddenly their voice became deep. There was facial hair. Even the girls underwent some changes. There was menstruation started. There were hairy growth. There was breast development. What triggered all this? For this also there are hormones, and the gland is ovary and the testis, which actually produce ova and sperm, but they also act as endocrine glands. The testis produces testosterone and the ovary produces estrogen. Not only the secondary sexual characters appear due to these two hormones, the production of sperm and ova is also triggered by testosterone and estrogen. In the females, after the egg has been fertilized, there is production of another hormone called progesterone, which is needed for the development of the embryo. Now, have you ever heard somebody suffering from diabetes? Very common. What happens? what do they say? Sugar level has increased in urine or blood. Why? Because of which hormone? Insulin, which is produced by pancreas. The insulin coordinates the sugar metabolism. So when insulin is less, then the person suffers from diabetes. So many diseases. Why do hormones, which are so important for life processes, cause diseases? That's what is our next topic of discussion.